Well, welcome to the end of the year update of the Buena Vista Railroad. It is indeed the middle of December, and as you can see by our indoor-outdoor thermometer, it is 4.1 degrees outside. First of all, what you're looking at here, if you can see that, we're looking at the marker lights, which I added. Actually, the marker lights I added to the cars way back in the 2000s, into the cabooses, I mean, way back in the 2000s, and some of you may remember an article I did for a Railroad Model Craftsman entitled The Marker Lights at the End of the Tunnel. What I wound up by doing, though, is substituting all of the electronics inside the cabooses. You can see those marker lights are still lit. A friend of mine turned me on to a guy on the internet who was selling basically keep-alive circuits for passenger cars and cabooses using supercapacitors. So I wound up by taking out the batteries and rewiring all of these caboose marker lights so that they are on the keep-alive circuit now, and then used an article in the NMRA magazine, a recent NMRA magazine, for some great tips on putting some wheel contacts on the thing. So that was one of the things that was done. I wound up by building the back of this swinging door. Where we are now is we're behind the swinging door, and I'll shut it. I put the back on it, made out of masonite, if I can zoom out there. Hard to see. It was just kind of an eyesore when the thing was closed because you could see the 2x4s and the plywood and all that. And up here you can see there are two giant LEDs, and those are for the detection circuits for when a train is on the door and you're outside the room. You can see that there's a train on the door and not to open the door. One of the other things I did, another kind of behind the scenes thing, you can see the red light here on top of the chimney. That LED, I put in detection circuits all over the layout for what little hidden trackage I have. But when you're standing here, and we're standing outside of the town of Pierce, and there's a train coming from the track that goes through the wall from the other room, you can't tell that. So if you're sitting here switching the town, the train coming through the wall kind of takes you by surprise. So I put a detection circuit in the hidden trackage between the two rooms, and that little LED lights up when there's a train coming. And I did this all over. There's an LED sitting right up here, which you probably can't see, which will detect trains coming from the upper deck hidden trackage. And even around here, there's an LED that's hidden in a light in the loading dock, so that when a train is coming from this trackage and you're standing here in Pierce switching, you can tell that that's coming. And as I said, I put those kind of detection circuits in all over the layout, so that where all of the towns are when you're switching, you have a good idea that there's going to be a train coming down the main line where you are, and to make sure that you clear it. I'm in the process of planning out the next piece of scenery that's going to be done is Mill Creek, which is this town right here. The creek is right here, or it will be. But I'm actually working on the town portion right now. I took a Walther's Cornerstone Merchant's Row kit. I don't know if you can see, and I added awnings. I added a lot of signs to the stores to give it that 50s look. The other block of buildings right now is on my workbench, and I'm working on awnings and signage for that. I turned this building, if you remember, this building on the old layout was a hardware store named Frank's. I turned it into what is, if you can see this, Kramer's Hardware, which is the hardware store that I work part-time at, and repainted the figures there for my friend Shelley and my boss John, Captain John Kramer. And so that is that block right there. That is done, and hopefully soon I will be working on the rest of this town. So that's what I've done this month, and it was enough. I feel justified that I did a lot of stuff this month. We're going to have a little bit of a slowdown next month. There's not going to be, this is the big news flash here, there's not going to be a Bona Vista update for January 2017, and I'll explain why during the February 2017 update. So until then, have a great set of holidays. Have a wonderful New Year's Eve, a safe New Year's Eve. Have a great beginning of 2017. I will join you in February of 2017, and once again, thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.